Let's go through DashCon first. DashCon's fun.
Let's do DashCon.
Again, I saw this go down live on like social media and it was hilarious. DashCon was a fan convention catering primarily to users of the blogging service Tumblr, with a particular emphasis on fandoms, held over the weekends of July 11, 2014 in Schaumburg, Illinois. The inaugural convention quickly became infamous for allegations of mismanagement among organisers, an alleged abrupt demand by the hotel for an upfront payment of cash for use of its facilities, and celebrity guests being forced to drop out of the convention after being informed by the hotel they were responsible for paying for their own rooms. A small ball pit placed in one of the halls became a meme after all organisers offered attendees, along with a raffle and concert tickets, an extra hour in it as reimbursement for a cancelled panel. The thing is, though, like, right now, Lucas, just type in DashCon ball pit, because it's the saddest thing you have ever seen. Because
is it just like the tiniest fucking ball pit ever?
It's not like you're thinking it in your head, a giant ball. No, it is. It is a fucking ball pit in the middle of a completely empty warehouse. Bring it up.
Okay.
Oh
my god.
It's just like a children's ball pit.
It is literally a children's inflatable paddling pool with a few like fucking ball pit balls thrown in there. Not even like overflowing, like a very sad amount of balls just sat in the middle of, like, as you say, just an empty warehouse.
Yeah, it's so bad. And it's like, oh yeah, you get an extra half an hour in the ball pit. I remember one of the best nights out I've ever been on is when I went to like a nightclub, Corporation in Sheffield.
Oh yeah.
A rock club. So it's like, it's dirty, classic. It's grungy, it's shit, it does crap pints, but it's cheap and it's always good for a laugh.
It always plays good music and it's got cheap booze.
And one time they had a giant, I'm talking giant inflatable ball pit, and I arrived like with a mate of mine, and we got in like basically as it opened, because we were walking past. I went, should we just go in?
Oh yeah.
I don't really fancy going to the pub. We went in. It was a ball pit. And went, am I allowed in that? I went, yeah, no one else here. Go for it. So I just dived into this giant ball pit and just did shots, and it was amazing. And then, like, 5 minutes later, like, a big group of girls came in and also dived, and I'm like, I feel like a fucking king. And I describe that feeling as the opposite feeling I get when I look at that sad ball pit.
Yeah.
It's so good. But, right, so organisers for DashCon initially stated they were going to hold a second DashCon in 2015, despite the issues faced, but officially announced via Tumblr in September of 2014 that it was the DashCon LLP was going to be dissolved and all of its assets liquidated, meaning they would not be holding a second convention.
So is there a reason why the first one was so abysmal?
Well, we're going to find out, because, as I said, prepare for an adventure, Lucas.
Okay.
So the concept, the DashCon, was announced in mid-2013 under the name TumbleCon USA. That's where I got the mix-up from the name from.
Yeah.
A convention catered to users of the blogging platform Tumblr and was touted as the largest gathering of Tumblr users to date. The convention was to focus on works that developed significant followings among Tumblr users such as Doctor Who, Sherlock, Supernatural, and the podcast Welcome to Night Vale. The convention raised enough money through ticket pre-orders, along with crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. Prior to the start of the convention, the name of the event was changed to DashCon, alluding to the site's dashboard feel to indicate that it was not officially endorsed by or associated with Tumblr.
Oh wow!
So far, so good. But already,
I mean,
you can
not
see the
a
cracks.
good sign when we are changing the name so that it's not officially endorsed by Tumblr.
Well, it's one of those things that you have to do it sometimes to avoid getting sued.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sometimes,
but like, it's not a good sign.
Right, but all made with the best of intentions to start with. So the convention was organised by DashCon LLP, a Hudson, Ohio-based limited liability partnership owned by Megan Eli and Roxanne Schweiterman. DashCon was held from July 11th through 13th in 2014 at the Renaissance Schaumburg Convention Hotel Centre. Among the guests originally scheduled were actor Doug Jones. Who the fuck's Doug Jones? Oh yeah, I know that dude.
Who is he?
He's the really tall guy who's in a lot of like horror movies. He's the guy. He plays Abe Sapien in Hellboy 1 and 2.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
The really tall fish man. He's in a lot of science fiction stuff. Webcomic artist Noelle Stevenson, again, not really sure. Apparently quite popular. And the cast of Welcome to Night Vale. On July 11th, a much more successful podcast than this one.
Mm-hmm.
On the evening of July 11th, the first night of DashCon, early reports began to surface from attendees that events occurring at the convention were poorly planned and attended. A vendor had left due to poor sales, and minors had been admitted to 18-plus rated panels.
Oh, no.
And if it's based on Tumblr shit, that was 18++.
Yeah, that was like 30+.
That is beyond my titty-liking post on Twitter. That is some stuff you do not want to see.
Yeah,
that's some furry porn.
That's some deep level shit.
That is some bad shit those kids got exposed to. The convention itself also began to experience unexpected financial difficulties. The staff of the Renaissance reportedly informed DashCon staff member they would need to pay, and I quote, $20,000 up front for the use of the facilities or shut the convention down.
What?
But this is the first night it's happening. DashCon organisers had verbally negotiated to pay the venue gradually throughout the convention using ticket sales rather than issuing an upfront statement, despite their contracts suggesting otherwise. So obviously they'd come to an agreement, and then obviously, I'm going to guess here, the guy who ran the hotel
did not agree with that agreement.
Oh, he just looked. He saw like 14 people walk in and went, I'm not going to make my fucking money. I want it now, or you can get out so I can actually sell this space.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is though, this is where it starts to get real bad. Because at 9 p.m, as a result of this unexpected development, organisers began to publicly solicit donations from attendees.
What?
So they went into the crowd and said, give us money or you're all getting kicked out. Basically, we need money from you guys right now or the entire thing gets shut down.
Oh my God.
And this crowd was of about 1,000 people, which is about 4 to 5 to 6,000 less people than they expected. Based on... So not only is there like 1/7 potentially of the people there, they are now being asked to pay extra money on top of what they've already paid.
Like $20 extra each?
Yeah. On top of what they've already paid to get there and their tickets, while also standing in a mostly empty convention centre with no guests or events.
Oh, God.
Despite... the thing is, though, they also asked for, in-person donations, like, to give us money, or online via PayPal. And with the goal of collecting at least $17,000 by 10 p.m. So they want, in an hour, they thought they could convince 1,000 people to give them $17,000.
Fuck me.
And organisers speculated that the abrupt changes in plans, so these are the people who organised it, because the hotel's management did not like the people at the con. And you know what, you could say that. Maybe they saw a lot of people in weird costumes, didn't like it. Or maybe they saw, they were told, 7,000 people are turning up and we're going to be making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
You'll get your $20,000, don't you worry. And they saw a fraction of that turn up and went, I want my fucking money now.
Yeah.
Pay me what I'm owed.
That's probably more likely what it was.
Because you know what? Ordinarily, I wouldn't side on the side of the businessman, the man. But as an artist, fuck you, pay me. Yeah, we had an agreement. I don't think that guy was entirely right to say, I want my money. You have told me you would pay for this space. Pay for this fucking space.
Yeah, exactly.
But the fact they went into the crowd and went, we need money. Give us money after they'd already paid. Oh, what happened to the money? What happened? And the thing is, apparently, no one knows what happened to it. So I think we'll cover that in a bit. So we've got this. Attendees were seen performing a 3-fingered salute from the Hunger Games and chanting lines from High School Musical while the organisers were soliciting funds. And and here's the thing though, they managed to get the money.
What?
They did. They got the money. They got the $20,000 they needed to pay the guy. But as you might imagine, this incident raised suspicion amongst attendees of the possibility of the crowdfunding drive being a scam. Which included disputes over the authenticity of an image of the bill printed on hotel stationery, which was released by a staff member, of being further proof of the alleged mismanagement. Because obviously, I'm going to say, even if it wasn't a scam, that is definitely mismanagement.
Oh, it's definitely mismanagement for sure.
It's like, oh man, the thing is though, it was just run by 2 people and thought it's the equivalent of when you're sat with your mate and you're drunk and you go, you know what? I bet we could start a YouTube channel. Yeah, so that's what it is now. It's a YouTube channel now, and back in the day, just sitting there going, you know what? I bet we could run a convention for 20,000 people. Sounds like a piece of piss. And obviously it didn't work. But you ready though? Because it gets better. Several guests, including Noelle Stevenson, who had to moderate her own panel because the scheduled moderator was absent.
Oh, no.
And the Baker Street Babes, who produced an all-female Sherlock Holmes podcast, and the Welcome to the Night Vale, were also informed by the hotel that they were responsible for paying for their own rooms, despite being previously told that the rooms would be paid for by the convention themselves.
Oh, no.
Or by the convention itself. Because usually it's what you're doing. It's either you say, we'll pay to fly you out,
Yeah.
we'll pay for your stay, and then obviously you can make money selling merch or like doing signings or whatever. Or I think like what happened when we got invited to Los Angeles by that charity event. We just said like we don't want any money, but we'll make sure we cover the costs in the money we raise.
Yeah,
if we don't,
sure.
we'll. But it's one of those things where the generally accepted thing is we'll pay you to come out here and then maybe give you a bit extra. And obviously that didn't happen here. So understandably, they weren't very happy about this because some of them had obviously spent their own money. Some of them obviously flown all the way out there under the expectation. Oh, right, it's fine, it's all covered. So I planned to buy myself a bit of food.
Yeah,
maybe a night
at
out or
very least, they're not coming out earning like less money. They're not operating at a loss at the very least. And
obviously no one wants to turn up to somewhere expecting not to pay anything and be told you owe us $300.
Yep.
It's like, what do you mean I owe you $300? Well, you've got to pay for your own fucking thing. And it says here that Stevenson ultimately joined the cast of Welcome to the Night Vale for an accommodation obtained via Airbnb. And Welcome to the Night Vale, they ultimately cancelled their appearance, and the organisers reimbursed those who purchased tickets for the panel with tickets to a raffle, various autographed collectibles, admission to a concert with the Chicago-based Doctor Who-inspired band Time Crash, and an extra hour in the ball pit. And you know what? The ball pit has its own section on the Wikipedia page. The ball pit, roughly the size of a kiddie pool, in an otherwise empty concession hall, and the notion of an extra hour in it quickly became a meme among attendees and other Tumblr users. Users envisioned other large quantities of items that could have been purchased with $17,000, and a video game developer created DashCon Simulator 2014, a comedic simulation of the convention's ball pit. Convention guest Mark Oshiro said the ball pit was not a point of interest. It wasn't something a single soul talked about. It was just a quirky thing that existed. And that in order to support the idea that DashCon was a full 100% disaster, every single detail was used to paint the con and the people at it as horrific failures of humanity. Which is a bit harsh.
I mean, a little bit, but...
I'm just going to say, it was just very, very funny. There's nothing funnier than seeing people just eat shit after they've talked such a big game. It's when you see boxers or sports people just talk so much mad shit and then just get their face weaved into the canvas.
Just like
don't
absolutely like talking their game off and they're just getting knocked out within 2 hits.
Yeah, it's that thing of it's shad. It's obviously it's probably not the right to feel it, but it's just very, very amusing to just see people fail in such a spectacular fashion. And because it's one of those things, it's like watching someone fall downstairs, and that's bad. But if they fell down the stairs, and then they keep falling, and they keep falling. So a story that I like to use is there's a famous story about a guy who was out cutting his lawn with a lawnmower.
All right.
And he cut his toe off with his lawnmower. And that's a tragic story, and you'd be a dickhead for laughing at it. But if I then say the toe then got flung off and hit him in the eye and blinded him, that's a true story. And that's the example I like to use of. This one bad thing happening is not funny, but when it's just when it gets that extra level of absurdity, that extra layer, that makes it something it's not just a story about someone hurting themselves, it's just a story of this improbable confluence of events fucking over one person. It becomes it's like gallows humour.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
Right? It becomes so absurd, it's funny at that point.
In the aftermath of the convention, a staff member of the hotel said their facility did enjoy their presence, while DashCon's staff promised to provide a more thorough explanation of what had occurred. The Baker Street Babes reported that the hotel payment issue was, according to organisers, a mistake. And Stevenson, whose hotel had not been resolved, defended criticism of DashCon by other users, arguing they were unfamiliar with what typically occurs at a convention in the first place. And argued that the people who organised it also were, but you do.
Yeah.
And near the end of the convention had finished, suspicion arose that the event was a cash grab for the convention organiser. We noticed that when the organiser first asked to pay the remaining $20,000, it was claimed that only $3,000 had been accrued by then. During the convention drive, third-party source and testimonials claim that around $750 was collected on site, with the remainder made in electronic transitions. A leaked payment statement, however, listed that $11,000 had been paid in cash, causing observers to accuse convention organisers of pocketing a substantial amount of the donations, though organisers denied this claim. And that's all we know about what happened to that money. Wow. And again, it's just very, very funny. Because if it had just been it failed, that's not an interesting thing. But it failed, and then there's the ball pit. That's what does it. The ball pit is the toe flying off the guy's foot and hitting him in the eyeball.
Oh, God. Man, like... I've never heard of this, but I just can't wrap my head around how you can...
Just fail that badly.
Yeah, fail so monumentally. Like, I know that putting on events is difficult, but, like, at least buy more than a kiddie pool. Like, but throw a couple of balls
because they did try... Like I said, they were going to hold a second DashCon that got cancelled. So what they did is, in September 2014, the Daily Dot published an article. They reported that concerns that DashCon had renamed and rebranded itself as Emoticon. The writer noted that the two conventions were nearly identical in their themes, and that Emoticon was to be held at the same venue that the second DashCon was set to be hosted. The Emoticon website contained much of the same text as the DashCon website, suggesting that it was being organised by one of the co-creators of DashCon.
Oh, no.
So they didn't learn their fucking lesson.
No.
But here's the best bit. Even though they literally copy-pasted from the DashCon website and it was being organised by one of the original people who started DashCon, DashCon later denied that the two cons were the same via a post on their official Tumblr account, where they stated that while Emoticon is being organised by two of the three owners of DashCon, the two events are otherwise unrelated to one another. They also said that Emoticon would be functioning under a very different infrastructure than DashCon did, with a more experienced and well-rounded staff. So that's, you know what? That's good, isn't it?
I mean, yeah.
Fair enough. Like, they learned from their mistakes, they licked the wounds, they came back, and they went, you know what? DashCon, the name's, it's been poisoned, it's salted. Like, you know, let's just sack it off and start again, do it properly.
But
wait a minute, sorry, I missed a
they
statement.
didn't learn the lesson in the first place.
I missed the sentence. Emoticon was later cancelled. With their official Tumblr account citing personal, financial and safety issues.
Oh, God.
And you know it's bad because in the bit at the bottom on Wikipedia it says, see also Fire Festival.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. I need to ask you though, Lucas, do you have another one in you?
Oh.
Because there is TanaCon.
Okay, like...
Do you have TanaCon? This is a very short one.
I mean, this is...
Do you have another one?
It's getting to that point. But you know what? Let's just dive in. Let's just do it, Karl.
Do you want, like, TanaCon?
I need to find out. I need to know.
This is...